Barry grew up in the Bay Area, and his family came to Napa in his childhood. His family's summer escape became the perfect place to escape Silicon Valley, completely. He had fallen in love with wine and with endurance horse racing, and founded Tamber Bey in 1999, naming it after his two prized horses. He purchased Vineyards in Yountville and Oakville, and set about creating a line of Bordeaux-inspired wines with winemaker Thomas Brown. Thank you so much for taking some time with us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Anything else that I should know about Tamber Bey and your life? I mean, we didn't talk about the horses actually, and because you do some competitive horse racing. Do you still
Well, we do.
that?
And so what you're experiencing here when you come to Tamber Bay is really the confluence of both my and my wife's passions. Now, I want to tell you, I fought that for 15 years. I almost said 20, but for 15 years. I always wanted them to be separate. I wanted to be considered a serious horse competitor and a serious winemaker independently. But when we got to this property, it all came together. So I capitulated and said, okay, we're both onto this. My wife and I do a sport called endurance horse racing. It's long distance horse racing over cross country.
Wow.
Races are 50 miles, 75, and 100 miles.
My goodness, where do they do? Where do these happen?
Yeah, where do these happen? I could tell you all over the world, quite frankly, because we have raced all over the world. But here in California, this is the home bed of endurance racing. That's what it's called. And so all we need is a 50-mile track, or a 75 or 100 miles, and a ride manager will make a track out of this. But that could go up mountains, over beaches, anything like that. It's kind of out in the country. Most of the races are on government-based lands, be it parks, be it BLM, things of that nature. We do a couple of rides that are on private properties. Fortunate that someone has a relationship that let us kind of run out there. So they're done all over. It is now an international sport. I've had the opportunity to race both in South America and in Europe. And my wife is even, I'm just going to tell you this, she's more better in all the departments about horses, taking care of them, riding, and so forth. And she is competing, hopefully this summer, in one of the most prestigious races that's here in California. Starts in Lake Tahoe, ends in Auburn. And it's all cross country.
Yeah.
There's not a dull moment for the rider.
I can imagine.
To stay going. So,
I can imagine.
So that's one of our passions.
It's fascinating.
Right?
I mean, you hear so much about horse racing, but this is a totally different style. It's feels much more natural. I mean, you're not on an indoor track. You're not running in circles. You're actually out. A horse is being able to run. You're being able to be on the horse and in natural environments.
And what's kind of the underbelly of this is how we take care of our horses through these races.
Right.
We are constantly monitored. We have to pass vet checks all along the way. By the way, they're not caring about the rider. They only care about the horse. But that's fantastic that they're doing that. So we have to pass these strategic points with health of the horse all along the way, which now makes this a very strategic race. Because how hot is it? Where are the mountains? What's my strategy? All these things come into play. Versus, I don't want to downplay too much, but if you're on a flat track, is what we call it, right? How fast can that horse go in a mile? That's not a lot of strategy there.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a little bit, but
yeah.
it's not like what we have to try to conquer for our races.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's
Thank
fun.
you for sharing.
It's very fun.